Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Brownie and I'm one half of the Indecisive Readers. Today I am here to do what is kind of part 3 of a 1-year anniversary in the book community. I've basically kind of had it over multiple months. I had it when the blog started, I had it when we originally started the channel, and now is when I restarted the channel. I think my anniversary is Friday? It would be on the Saturday, so would that make, I don't know. Sometime around the start of November I started it with my October wrap-up. And so I thought, I've done a tag, I've done a kind of review, let's do a Q&A. So I asked you guys to send me some questions. I kind of combined it with a giveaway, so like if you ask me a question you get entered into the giveaway. I will do the giveaway at the end, but I will just start with the Q&A. I was going to have Sam to do this with me, but he kind of wasn't in the filming mood, and obviously we are once again in lockdown and we didn't film this pre-lockdown, so we aren't able to film it together. We'd have to do it over Skype anyway. So yeah, I'm here on my own. I do have a couple of Sam's answers, but let's just get in and do it. So we'll start with the Instagram questions, and I will link all the information for people down below. And the first question is from Abby, who is over at Pets and Pages, and her question was, what's been your favourite book of the year? Now, if you follow me on any social media, probably this answer isn't going to be a surprise to you, but it is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is a black retelling of Arthurian legend. Apart from it's not quite a retelling and more like a reimagining, I really enjoyed it, and when I read it initially I was like, oh, it's like 4.5 stars, but I've actually raised it up to 5 because I just haven't stopped thinking about this book and all the things that it does and the things it does well and the things that just make me think. It wasn't a hard question to come to, but if you were to ask me my top 5 of the year, I think I'd more struggle because I've read a lot of good books, a lot of very good books, but this was probably my most excellent book. And also I feel like the ones I'd possibly say were my favourite aren't necessarily ones I've rated 5 stars. Please don't leave me. I need you for my video. Don't go. Stay. Okay. Yeah, so the ones I've rated 5 stars might not always be my favourite ones. They've just, when I've initially gone through and been like, yes, 5 stars. But I'm going to do a video at some point actually kind of reviewing the reviews I gave through the years, so we'll see if some of those change. Next is from Tori, who is over at A Scottish Lass Reads, and she asks, is there any book you have had a completely different opinion on? Now, Sam and I generally read quite similar books, and where our reading tastes kind of overlap, we generally agree. We actually kind of met through a book we met through Hollyborns and My Normal Year, and so we know that we like the same books, and so I feel like when we recommend each other a book we generally know that the other person will like it, or if we recommend one that we might not like, we will know they will like it as well. There are only like a couple I can think that we've had different opinions, but that's only because like he's really enjoyed it and I haven't as much. This question actually comes up again later, so I am going to save one of those answers for then. But one of the answers I have is actually The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. Now this was a very big surprise to me because Sam absolutely adores The Bone Season. A lot of people adore The Bone Season, and I honestly love The Priory of the Orange Tree. And so when I went into The Bone Season, I think my expectations were just too high. And I was like, it was okay. And I was really kind of disappointed, but also didn't tell anyone that I thought it was just okay because I wanted to like it more and I just didn't. I have since revisited the books and enjoy them a lot more, but I think the first time I went in my expectations were just too high, and so we didn't necessarily disagree, but we just disagreed on the amount we loved the book. Her second question is, what books have you read together? Again, we don't often read books together, like we don't often buddy read books because we'll usually lend them to each other or recommend them once we finish them, but we did actually read Pretending together by Hollyborn, which is quite poignant because we both like a Hollyborn book, and like I said, that's how we met. But when we were in Cambridge, for some reason I put the audiobook on and just kind of put it on the bed between us, and we just listened to it together. And so that's the first book we've actually like read together, and the fact that we just put it on and listened to it, and then we would like pause it and talk about it, and that was a really fun experience. We actually did a podcast on that book amongst others, including a couple more that we have read around similar times, and so I'll link that down below. So if you want to know like our opinions together, that's one for you. So my next question is from Jasmine, who is over at the Blue Book Bear, and her question is, what book really got you into reading? Now this book is going to come up a lot because it is my favourite book of all times, which is spoiling another answer, but I absolutely adore this series, and I left it for a few years because I was like, oh, it's a kid's series, like I'm cooler than that, but I'm not cooler than that. I still love the series so much, and I reread them for the first time last year. I'm still kind of going through it. I still need to get to the final one, which is on my shelf over there. And yeah, I'm terrified of reading it because I don't want it to be over, but I have since realised I can go back to it. But my favourite book ever is Magic by Angie Sage. I talk about this a lot. Whenever you want a middle grade recommendation, this is always what comes up for me, and I picked it up not because I am picking up all the books, but to show you just how battered this looks. I mean, can you see the spine is actually losing colour from how many times I've just kind of folded it open and read it, and the cover is all creased and it's really yellow, and it just makes me very happy. And it's got little illustrations at the start of each chapter, and I remember spending hours kind of copying the illustrations, doing my own illustrations, making kind of my own fandom merchandise to go with it, and I just absolutely adore this series with my whole heart. And I will continue to say that they are my favourite book ever. And that actually wasn't your question, I now remember. Your question is what book got you into reading, and I'm sure this probably wasn't it, but this is the one that I remember like reading all the time, and teachers being like, oh, could you read that again? But like, surely it doesn't matter what books the kids are reading as long as they're reading. My next question is from Beth, who is at BiblioBeth3. Her question is, what would your ideal date night be? And then she adds, I'm expecting a bookshop to be in there. So Sam and I don't actually live together at the moment, hence the whole problem with lockdown. We both live about 4 hours train journey away on a good day. Neither of us drive, so we do have to get the train, and so our date nights usually just consist of staying in because we have to do it on weekends after work, and he doesn't want to do anything, which is perfectly fine. So our date nights usually consist of probably a film in bed with popcorn and maybe dominoes. I don't know what our ideal date night would be. I really like days where we get to go out and do something because it feels like we've done something with our day rather than just kind of laid in bed, which again is absolutely fine. But I really enjoy days where we go out to like a museum or to a castle or go to some gardens and it looks nice and we get some pretty pictures. So my date night ideally consists of pictures, much to Sam's disgust probably, because again we're not together enough, so I just want that kind of memento of our days together. So that is my ideal date night, and then probably dinner out maybe. I quite like doing things, and I like doing the things that are probably not exciting or are stereotypical. Like, I'd love to go to a Christmas market, but that's just me, not necessarily for a day. I babbled. I don't know what my ideal date night is, but just doing something with Sam. I feel like my answer would change once we actually live together, but I'm sorry, Beth, I don't know what my answer was. But we would walk around a bookshop, I'm sure. Like, I'd drag Sam into every charity shop, and also we go into bookshops, but like, we both are relatively good at not buying books all the time because I'm still living in a student mindset, and like full price books make my heart hurt. Like, that's a lot of money and I don't always have that to spend. So sometimes he'll go in and I'll just follow him around, which is also fine. So my next questions are from someone called Fandom Book Lover on Instagram. They didn't quite follow the rules of the giveaway, so I feel like really stingy, but I'm not quite sure how to enter them in the giveaway. I don't know whether to give everyone else an extra entry because they actually follow the rules, but there are a couple of people that did this and I feel very stingy. But Yeah, the first one is, do you enjoy classics? And my answer generally is no. I studied English literature at university and hated it because generally it was all classics and classics that I had no care for. But I have realised I don't mind classics when I want to read them. So I've recently read Frankenstein and The Picture of Dorian Gray. Really enjoy both of those, but that's because I wanted to read those rather than just reading ones for the sake of studying them, which is fine. But in university you only study them for a week, not even a week, for one lesson, and it just doesn't work for me, and they're boring and they don't do anything, nothing happens. I don't like contemporary fiction where nothing happens, and I just feel like classics is contemporary fiction but confusing writing. The next question is, what's your favourite book? We have already answered that with Magic by Angie Sage. I'm saying it again because I don't actually think I said Angie Sage last time. It's the Septimus Heap series, and I didn't say what it was about. Basically, it's about a seventh son of a seventh son who is taken away from his family at the start of the book, and there are princesses and magic and it's wonderful, and someone described it, I saw on Tumblr, as medieval Harry Potter based around the Weasleys with princesses and dragons, and it's great. I cannot recommend it enough. Then the next question was, how is your account so aesthetic and awesome? And this is the one that made me laugh because they clearly just like followed me for the giveaway, and I'm like, I appreciate the question and I appreciate the compliment, but you don't mean it. My account also isn't aesthetic and awesome. I will like put what it looks like up here. I have no consistency to my account. I just basically take pictures. I'd love to have a kind of theme, but also I really like just being able to take pictures anywhere. Just, oh, those trees look nice, or that's a pretty shirt. I like pictures with backgrounds that match the book. So if the book's red, I'll put like, well, maybe not red because then it'll just blend in, but I'll put like, if there's a kind of focus colour, I'll try and find that as a background, and that's what I really like doing, but it's not aesthetic and awesome, I'm afraid. And the final question is, how did you come up with your Insta name or handle? The answer is because it matches my YouTube and WordPress blog. We chose the Indecisive Readers basically because I couldn't decide on a name, which makes sense for Indecisive Readers. It was going to be the Indecisive Reader, but then Sam was like, I'll join in, so we are the Indecisive Readers. And now that's the Instagram handle, and for some reason I still haven't changed it on my Twitter, but I should because it's just my name and nothing to do with books, which is silly. My final two Instagram questions are from Paperbacks and Heartbreaks. Once again, they kind of did the asking questions but not tagging someone, so again I feel a bit mean, but we will work it out. So their first question was, what's your favourite Bookish merch? So I didn't start getting book boxes until November, October last year, and I do generally really like them, but a lot of the time I find I just don't care for the items because they're very fandom based, and I haven't read a lot of the big fandoms. Like I haven't read Strange the Dreamer, I haven't read The Raven Boys, well I've read the first one but I haven't really read it. I haven't read Six of Crows, I haven't read Throne of Glass, but I like bookish merch that isn't necessarily fandom merch. But my favourite does have to be, if I can find ones that are relevant to the fandoms I like, bookish prints. So I have 3 here and would love to find more for books I enjoy. So the first one was from Illumicrate in like November or December I think, and it is The Girls of Paper and Fire, and it's very holographic, which makes it really hard to show on the camera, but it's really pretty. The colours are great. The to be fair, I love the holographic and all the lanterns and things, and it's very pretty. The problem is it never seems to flatten, so it's always kind of falling off my shelf, but I have recently made my shelves colour coordinated, and these go in front of the red and the pink and the orange, and I love them. So the next one I have is from the City of Brass. Again, I think it was from, no it wasn't from, I think it's from Fairy Loot in like May, and I really enjoy that. I think it's got Dara and Nari. I actually forgot I had this, but yeah, I really enjoy that. I actually have a wonderful picture of my cat posing with it. And the final one I have is to do with the Priory of the Orange Tree, and it's this one. It has a orange tree with 2 dragons in it, so it's got one with wings and it's got one without. And I also have it signed by the author. When we went to Yauk, I didn't actually have a copy of Priory, and I didn't want to make Sam drag his all the way up because it's heavy. I was going to buy one, but they were all sold out. So I had that. I brought that the other day and I was like, would you sign it instead? And she's like, yeah, sure. So I have that, which is great. I very much like it, and yeah, I'd like to get some more. I think there are some more with Priory, and there's ones with like the individual characters. So there's Tane, Iad, Sabran, Loth and Niclays, and I think I'd like to get all of them. If I could get like a 5 frame and put them all in, I think that'd be really great. But yeah, Bookish prints is what my favourite merch is. And their final question is, what is your all-time favourite Bookish quote? And I don't know the answer to this one. I was going to prepare it, but I forgot. Hang on. Okay, so I don't know the answer to this, mainly because I don't remember quotes. Here is my copy of Priory, which I've half read. The pink ones mean, not that you can necessarily see pink, but the pink ones mean favourite quotes or favourite moments, and there are a lot. There's one in this that says something like the world could end and he'd still be reading, which I really like. And there's also no woman should be made to fear that she's not enough. There are also, of course, ones from the Hunger Games like Real or Not Real and Do You Want a Sugar Cube? I like ones like that because they're memorable. I'm sure that there are ones from Magic that I like, but I just can't think what they are. But I don't know, favourite quotes are hard to think of. The only ones that like are sticking in my mind and I'm trying desperately to avoid them are ones from Harry Potter, and I don't want that. So we'll move on to the Twitter questions. So my first Twitter questions is from City of LGBT Reads, and their question is, what's your favourite book retelling? For this I'm going to answer The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is a retelling of 1001 Nights, and it's one of the early Mythic Reads group picks, and obviously that means it was a retelling of some sorts, and I thought it was really interesting, really rich world, and the stakes kept getting raised in the books, and I'm on the final one. I'm really enjoying it. I wanted to reread the first 2, but thought the first 2 probably total about 1,000 pages plus, and with that one on the end it'll be about 2,000 pages, and I just didn't want to delay it again, so I thought I'm just going to read it. And there were a couple of things at the start where I was like, oh, I forgot that happened, but now we're in it, it's fine. Next, my questions are from Brittany, and she is over at Book Rambling. She's that on WordPress and now on YouTube. So her first question is, again, what's the last book you both read and disagreed on? So like one loved but the other disliked. Again, not really sure because our tastes are generally the same, but I have written down Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Sam really enjoyed it. I think he rated it kind of high 4 stars and I was like low 3. Everyone else really enjoyed it or hated it. They were very strongly either way, and I was just a bit like, I don't really feel anything for it. Maybe it was because I was listening to the audiobook and I didn't like the audiobook, but I just didn't care for it. And then Sam loved it and I was like, I'm glad you enjoy it. I didn't, but like, good for you. I feel like there are a couple that I know he will like even though I haven't, and one of those I've just thought of is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by, is it Gail Foreman? I didn't particularly like this. Like I said earlier, it's a contemporary and nothing happens and I just don't care for it, but Sam said he's read snippets at work and he knows he'll really enjoy it, so I actually gave him my copy and said, I don't, you can have it. So I feel like once he's read that, we can say that, but until then, our tastes are the same. If we just know the other person's not going to like it, we just won't recommend it. Hi Brittany, this is Editing Brownie checking in. You're actually, that's quite disgusting. With a dribbling cat. I would have like gone back to my regular position, but she was being cute. Basically I realised when I was filming it I forgot to answer your second question because I was so excited to answer Sophie's about the cat, really. So yeah, your second question was what's your favourite video you've made? and I've made a lot that I've quite liked, but I don't know if I've got a favourite or if I've got a favourite that's changed since I actually did this last time for our BookTube anniversary book tag kind of thing. So I think it's still actually my rant about romance video, but I have a few that I also very like. I really like the ones, I don't think that's a sentence, you're an editor, you're going to judge me now. I think there are a few that I quite like as well, but not necessarily in the same way. I really like the ones where I'm painting on books because they just feel like the result is fun. But I think my rant about romance video is probably my favourite one, and it's one where if I were to watch it back as someone else I'd enjoy it, and I feel like that's what makes it my favourite. I don't really know, but I quite like the ones where I'm feminist ranting as well, because just that's me. And my final questions are from Sophie, who is over at Redhead Reading on YouTube, and she's on Sophos on Twitter and Instagram, and she has some marvellous questions. They are possibly my favourite questions anyone has asked. And so her first one is, are there any books which had a great premise but didn't quite work out that you'd like to rewrite? So Sam's answer, which I think he forgot because he didn't mention it when I asked him earlier, was Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Now this is another one that he really enjoyed the first one, but I was a bit like, I'm not sure, but we both hated the second one, and so I think he feels like it's got a really good story in there, but how they execute it, or particularly how they execute the ending, just doesn't work for us. It seems to work for a lot of other people, but just not for us. Not okay. He didn't like it. I will leave his rant review down below. And for me, I've chosen Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulthurst. I think this one actually works for Sophie, because I think Sophie has read the prequel to it and also wasn't enamoured, but it just felt a bit half-hearted. So basically the story is between two princesses, one who's really into horses and one who has magical powers, in a city where they don't like magic, and she's getting married to the prince or king. Is he the king? I can't remember. But she turns out she actually likes the sister of the prince king. And so secret relations ensue, and it felt like it could be really interesting, but it felt like the world just wasn't quite created. And then when the romance happened, it went from like 0 to 100 really quickly. I can't remember it exactly because I think I've kind of blocked it from my mind, but I'm going to go on another rant. I've thought of another one. But I think they hadn't kissed and then they had sex, and I'm like, that's wrong. That's not how it works. And it just, I didn't like it, and pass it on to a friend. I don't even have it on my shelf anymore. Maybe she'll like it. But the other one I just thought of was 10 Things My Cat Hates About You, and it's a romance based around a cat, and the cat hates everyone apart from these two guys, and so she's competing for two guys, but like you knew which guy it was going to be at the start. And I feel like if you're going to do a love triangle, make it a surprise which one they're going to end up with, because otherwise I'm just frustrated and I want to put the book down. And I did nearly DNF it, but also it was really quick to read and just very angry, didn't like it. So the penultimate question is, if you could throw a literary luncheon for 3 characters, who would you choose? So my first one, I might be cheating. It seems very mean to invite someone over just to make them cook for you. Not just to make them cook for you, but she would be good for a party. And that is Amoni from With the Fire on High. Again, I think Sophie's read this and would agree, but the whole story is about her cooking and her being this amazing chef, and so it seems silly not to want to invite her for food, especially if she can cook. Next, I have said Tane from The Priory of the Orange Tree, because dragons. She has her own dragon, and why wouldn't I want to invite a dragon to my party? I did really want to invite Iad, but dragons. And my final one is Jenna from the Magic series, because I just love her. And she was my favourite character. She was better than Hermione to me when I was little, and so obviously I just want to meet her and like be best friends with her. Or Beetle. I love Beetle. I don't know. All of them. I want to meet all the Septimus Heap cast. And her final question is the best question in the world. and it was really hard to think of, but I loved it so much. I need you for this now. And the question is, can you recommend me books inspired by your cat's personalities? This was a really hard one actually, because whilst I did come up with answers, there were some answers I wanted to say that I think you'd already read, and then there were some that I was like, oh, but they would work, but I don't know if I like them for it. Or they would work, but I don't physically own them and I wanted to hold them up. So, come on. The first one is Max. So Mags comes when you whistle, which isn't part of her character. But this is Mags. Ow. You got your legs stuck. I just want to cuddle. Say hi, Mags. That's Mags. Usually she's not actually up, which is ironic, because my recommendation for her was going to be based on the fact that she sleeps 95% of the day. Like when she comes downstairs, because she's not sleeping, we actually have to like take a photograph and be like, look, she's here. We've got 3 cats, and one's my sister's, one's mine, and one's like my parents. And Mags is my sister's, so she's taken to laying on my bed. So that's why she's here again. But yeah, she sleeps a lot, and so my recommendation for her is Sleep by C.L. Taylor. She's not particularly a thriller or mystery cat. I mean, I suppose it is a mystery where she's hiding sometimes, because she just hides under random beds and only comes when you whistle, which isn't a cat thing. She also used to play fetch. But I'm recommending Sleep because she sleeps, and that seems perfect. I actually haven't read it, Sophie, so if you happen to want to read it and want to buddy read it, let me know. The next cat I have is Magic, who's my mum and dad's cat. He is black and white. He is actually named after the Magic Kitten book, so I probably could have put that. But the book I'm actually going to recommend is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. So I'm recommending this because Magic is a little beast. He is a little poo bag and attacks everyone. But to us, he's really cute most of the time. Like, he likes sitting on my lap, and he'll be very sad if he can't sit on your lap, but also he does like weird things. But like to anyone else, he attacks. Like Sam hates him. He doesn't particularly like any of our cats because none of our cats are particularly people cats, and he takes it as a great offence that they don't like him. So this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and I thought it would work for Magic because he is a beast, but he's also quite nice at times when you get to know him. But apparently this was the only Beauty and the Beast retelling I read. I read the Myth Take Reads Masterless, and this was the only one I recognised of it, and so here you go, Magic, a book for you. And the final book I'm recommending is based on Mo, who is my cat. She is my baby. She's cuddly. I like cats that you can pick up and cuddle and squeeze, because I've looked after some cats and you just can't pick them up, and it makes me very sad when I'm with them for a week and I can't see my cats. I'm just like, I need to give you a cuddle. She's quite scatty. I say this, they're all asleep at the moment. I could recommend Sleep for all of them, but when she's scatty, she is scatty, just runs around. I've finally made her into a lap cat, which I'm very excited about. But this one was a really hard one for me actually, because I don't know whether it's because she's my cat or what, but I was torn between wanting to go for something cuddly because she's my cuddly cat, or wanting to go for something high pace because she's scatty. But in the end I went for that kind of stereotypical cat trait where when they're like a bit, they just like follow everything shiny. So I've gone for the shiniest cover I own, well, one of the shiniest, and that's Ash by Melinda Lowe. I mean, you can see the whole thing is reflective. This is a queer retelling of Cinderella. So if you haven't read this, would recommend. It's quite easy as well and quite short, and Mo's actually the smallest cat we've got, although Mo being the smallest cat is probably about the normal size for a cat. Like Mags and Magic are like beasts. Like I could have recommended Priory or something for them. They are chunks. They are big cats. So what I'm going to try and do now is do the giveaway, and I've just thought maybe I will number them and then I'll just put like 1 to 2 on them. 1 to 2, 1 to 3. I can number them. I'll just put all the numbers on a random number generator and get them to choose. So I've got 1 to 30 on the Instagram one. Like I said, I've put in a couple of extra ones for the people that actually did the giveaway right. So the first one is 7, and that is Tori. So I will message Tori and let her know that she has won. I should have kind of filmed it, but I forgot. That's on me. So the Twitter one, I'm gonna number that again. That is 1 to 12. And that is 11. So that is City of LGBT Reads. So I will message you and ask you for your details and send that to you. Yeah, book of your choice up to £10. And yeah, thank you everyone for sending me questions. This has ended up being more babbly than I thought it would, but yeah, thank you everyone for watching it. Thank you for staying around for a year. Hopefully we will be around for a lot longer. Hopefully this time next year I'll actually have a job, because like I remember starting up this channel being like, maybe this will help me get a job, and COVID. So but yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!